Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Locker Room Podcast. Today is super exciting because, as you know, we typically have our new episodes come out on Friday, but today is actually a Wednesday since this is a special edition for National Girls and Women in Sport Day. We just really thought here at West Liberty it would be super important and exciting to just be able to showcase and talk to some of our female coaches and female student athletes on this day. I know for me, I was super excited about the opportunity to do this and to talk about all of this just because for my whole life, I have been able to be a part of athletics, whether that was my playing career growing up in college or then graduating college and being able to come to West Liberty and begin my coaching career. And I think that on a day like this, when we get to celebrate females in sports, I think the idea that if you can see her, you can be her is just so important. And that's what we want anyone watching to be able to get out of this. I know for me growing up, both of my parents were coaches. So I was always around coaches in my family. My mom actually was one of my coaches growing up. And she really is one of the people that pushed me to go into college athletics and specifically to look into acrobatics and tumbling in college. And without that support, I wouldn't be sitting here filming this podcast episode, still a part of acrobatics and tumbling almost 10 years later. Um, but still, with that, even though I grew up with my parents as coaches and I grew up around that, it wasn't until my senior year of college when my coach that I had, um, one day she just asked me like, Kelsey, what do you want to do after you graduate? And I was like, well, Coach Christy, I don't know yet. Like, I'm not sure. And she was like, you know what? Like, you're passionate about acrobatics and tumbling. You're passionate about the sport. Why don't you go into coaching? And from that point on, I was like, yes, that's exactly what I want to do. Like, that makes so much sense. But it didn't click for me until someone explicitly said that out loud to me. So I just hope that throughout listening to this podcast episode, you're going to see a couple different segments, like I said, with different student athletes, different coaches, and different administrators. I hope anyone that's watching can take away different things from the different people that you're listening to. And maybe this could be a moment for someone out there, for a young girl listening, to think, okay, I can go be a college athlete because of this. Or maybe you're an athlete and you're thinking about coaching afterwards. And this could be what you need to hear to inspire you to just see the other people that have been able to go before you and hopefully then lead the way for you as well. So I hope you enjoy the episode. You get to listen and hear from a bunch of awesome different women. And it was super fun to have all these conversations. So I hope you enjoy them as well. All right, I am here with two of our student athletes. I am with Riley Kudnick and Anna Lucarelli. Riley is on our volleyball team and Anna is on our women's basketball team. So I have just a couple of questions for you guys to celebrate National Girls and Women in Sport Day. So first off, just let's talk about what it's like to be a woman in sports competing at the college level.
Okay. Being a woman in sports has really brought a great community, a positive environment for me. And with that community, it's allowed me to advocate for younger generations and younger girls that are aspiring to be future athletes and follow their dreams in that. So it's a great feeling helping out that younger generation. And yeah.
I love that. What about you?
Honestly, being an athlete, like on this campus especially, just has taught me like a whole new meaning to the word grateful. Like I really love the bond that my team has, but our bond with other teams. I'm just super grateful for the opportunity that I get to be a student athlete here.
Yeah, I love that. So not only are you two both just awesome athletes, but you're also leaders on our campus. So both of them are part of our leadership team for the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. So let's talk a little bit about what that's like. Like, what's it like being a female leader on our campus?
Yeah. So as a leader, I live by like one quote, and that's when life is sweet, say thank you and celebrate. And when life is bitter, say thank you and grow. So I feel like I transition that into my leadership every day, especially as a woman. Like we go through so many ups and downs, but it's like, how do we respond to that? How can we still impact others when we're dealing with life's obstacles?
That was awesome.
I love that. That was so good. Yeah, I just think being a leader on this campus taught me like so much down the road, even like just to be a leader in my life, in everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so I know for me, whenever I was like preparing for this and thinking back just like through the different parts of my life to get me to where I am now, there's been so many incredible women that have gone before me to make this opportunity possible for like us to be sitting here right now. So, are there any specific like strong female influences that you guys had in your life that you can really like credit what you've done so far to them partially?
Um, yeah, mine's actually someone that's younger than me. It's my younger sister, Kathleen. She's actually committed to play basketball here next season. But she's just a ball of energy. She's so dedicated to the sport. She's dedicated to her goals, and she just inspires me every day. And as her older sister, I feel like it's my responsibility to always be the best that I can be for her. And I just want to be the best role model I can be for her. So she's a huge inspiration as I continue my career.
That's so sweet, especially that you guys get
Yeah.
to play together. That's so
Uh-huh.
awesome.
Mine would definitely be my mom. She's been my coach for forever before I came here, but just in life and everything, she's a super hard worker, and I've always tried to be my best to show her like make her proud of me. So definitely my mom.
Yeah. So this question we didn't go over beforehand. I just thought of it and I think it's a good
Okay.
option. So you guys both have female coaches that lead your teams. So what's that like getting to work every day with you, your assistant coach, you, your head coach, and your GA coach being females, getting to watch them lead you guys? What is that like having that like inspiration and role model every day?
I feel like we classify ourselves as leaders and role models too, but there are leaders and role models. So being able to learn from them and gain so much knowledge, like especially throughout the experience that they've had in their lives, is truly amazing.
I think just the connection that girl athletes have with girl coaches is just unmatched, and I think you definitely see that with just how close we are, like on and off the court. So.
No, that's awesome. All right. So what would you want to say to either like a younger version of yourself or just a little girl that's out there that maybe is just starting to play like a little league basketball league or starting to play volleyball for the first time that might grow up to have dreams to be sitting in the chairs that you guys are in right now? What would you want to say to them?
I would say have fun and work hard because sports are fun and they can be so intense and having fun I feel like is when people play their best. So I would say that find the joy in the sport, find the joy in the little things, find joy in, for me it was going outside and playing knockout with my sisters and my dad and mom. um, so yeah, have fun and then obviously work hard, earn everything that you want to earn in your sport.
I feel like as you grow and get older, always remember why you started playing. Like, remember why you're that little girl that wanted to play. Like, that's so big for me too, just to remember why I started, why I love it.
All right, so now I am back with our volleyball coach, Briley Jarrett, and one of her volleyball players, Naya Setla. And so, my first question for you guys is just now that it's National Girls and Women in Sport Day, what does it mean to each of you to be a woman in sports?
Honestly, today it's very empowering, especially now how fast the sport of volleyball has grown and how much of a light we are to girls who are just trying to find their purpose in the world.
Yeah, definitely bouncing off of her. I mean, volleyball has just grown tremendously, and it's so great to see because it's such a fun sport to watch, right? I mean, I'm always going to argue that it's one of the funnest women's sports to watch. But I mean, it's just they work so hard. We work really hard, and again, I just love that we're able to be celebrated.
Yeah, of course. So, what does it mean specifically to you, Naya, to just be able to play with a group of really awesome girls? And then after that, what is it like for you to be able to coach those girls?
Yeah, honestly, we every day we inspire each other to be the best person, best version of ourselves that we can be. And the fact that we can show that through playing the sport that we love and show other people that anything's possible is honestly a gift in itself.
I think for me, I'm very, very blessed to be able to lead strong young women. I think that if you look back over, kind of my playing career going into a coaching career, I'm just very blessed to be able to share what I love to do with them. And, like I just said, they work really hard, so it makes my job, way more enjoyable too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, to get to where you are now, for both of you, have you had some just really special women or like key people that inspired you just to help you get to where you are today?
Yes, absolutely. Hannah Grant, she is a libero at Michigan, and she just graduated actually, but she was my guiding light all through high school. She was my role model, and then going into college, Mackenzie Walsh. She is now playing professional, and she's uh, leading the pro federation at Rise. And honestly, she helped me figure out what college volleyball was, and she helped me realize the potential here. And her family even helped me get involved. So they all inspiring women for sure.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, when I think about myself, I think about when I played high school volleyball. I played for one of the greats, Lori Kogan, who at Amherst Steel High School really taught me how to be a strong, independent young woman, and I think that's really important. And then actually someone that I really definitely look up to and learned a lot from was Kayla Mull, the previous head coach here, who I was fortunate enough to coach with under 2 years, and kind of showed me the ropes of being a young head coach, right? Because at times that can be intimidating. You learn a lot. You learn a lot about yourself. You're going to make mistakes, but as long as you learn from those mistakes, I think it's really important. So those would definitely be two for me.
Yeah, so that's just so awesome to hear like your different stories and to see how people have inspired you. So as a player and as a coach, what would you want to be able to either tell your younger self or just another young girl out there that maybe has dreams of being a collegiate athlete or maybe even coach one day?
Absolutely. I think it's definitely scary and intimidating as all get out, but to always take that chance and that you always have the support behind you to back you up, to keep you pushing forward, to keep finding your peace and your purpose, and to just stay after it.
I wish I could go back and tell my younger self many of things, but I would definitely tell my younger self to give yourself grace. Kind of like what I just said, you're definitely going to make mistakes, but if you can learn from them and you can continue to share, your knowledge would be a great mentor, role model for young student athletes. I mean, that's definitely something that I'm passionate about. Getting into coaching, it's fun. It's hard, but it's fun and it's definitely rewarding. Getting to see, how happy they are, getting to see, everything that they succeed at. That's definitely why I like it for sure.
No, I love that. Well, thank you guys so much for
Thank you.
coming here and helping us celebrate National Girls and
Yes.
Women in Sport Day.
Absolutely.
Sure. Thank you.
All right, so I am here with our head softball coach, Sarah Pellegrin, and one of her athletes, Avery Becker. So just to start off, what does it mean to both of you to be a woman in sports?
Yeah, I think it's really empowering being a woman in sports. Typically, women are portrayed as very weak. They think that women can't do a lot of things that men do, and I think we're finally coming to the day and age that women's sports is getting a lot more recognition that it deserves. I mean, we have some pretty awesome athletes out there, and I think people are starting to realize that girls can compete at the same level that men can.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that you've talked about that because I think about how long it took for women to be able to compete in sports in general. And I think what's important to me is that we get to be that next generation or two that gets to kind of live what all these women before us got to pave the way for. So that's what I love the most about that.
I agree. I think that's so important too. So, what is it like? This is kind of like a two-part question. What's it like for you to be able to compete and play with a group of just awesome, strong women? And then what's it like for you to be able to coach those women?
Yeah, I think we have a great group of girls. It's very rare. There's 28 of us. It's very rare that you're going to find a sisterhood that we all get along and we all have each other's back. It's really empowering. Like we all hype each other up. If somebody makes a great play, we all got each other's back. If someone's not having the best day, we know that somebody's going to pick them up. We just work really well together, and I think we've started to get to know each other on a deeper level, and that's going to help us play this season.
Something that I think about a lot is making sure that these young women are ready for the next step in their life after softball. And yeah, it's cool. We gel really well right now on the softball field, and we have a lot to look forward to there. But for me, I just want to try to help them become the strongest women by the time they leave here and be able to be real human beings in the world after that. So that's what's important to me when I coach. Like, it's not all about softball for me. We talk a lot about things outside of softball. And I think that when you can grow and love each other outside the softball field, you can gel even more on the softball field. And then that makes you like a tougher woman going out into the real world.
Yeah, that is both of those answers. So good. So, in order to get to where you are today, coaching, being a collegiate athlete, I'm sure that you've had a lot of influences in your life to help you get here. So, do you have some like strong female role models or inspirations that just helped you to be where you are today?
I'd say my mom is probably my biggest role model. She actually played 2 college sports. So
wow.
as much as I wanted to fight her on stuff growing up, when she's given me tips, I know she had my best interest at heart. And she just does everything. I mean, she's works, coaches, does everything, and still is able to provide every thing for her children and be there for us. So it's just amazing the way she can balance it all.
Yeah, I'm also choosing my mom, of course. She has just always been a very hardworking individual, and growing up, I've never really realized that until now. I'm a mom, and she is working as Grammy Reina to help me raise my kid. And so, like, I see her and all of the work that she's put in as a mom, and I realize now, like, oh man, like she's definitely the person that I strive to be, because she just has been that role model that I look up to. And I didn't realize that because I fought my mom on everything when I grew up, and now I realize I truly don't know if I would be able to do life without her. So yeah, probably my mom too.
No, that's so special. So, if you were able to go back and tell your younger self something, or maybe go back and just say something to a younger girl out there that maybe one day wants to be a collegiate athlete or wants to be a leader or a coach in sports, what would you want to say to them?
I would just say take everything in. Being a senior, it's kind of hard. Like, this is my last time playing with this group of girls, and growing up, like, take everything in, those tournaments, those practices, even the days that you don't want to go to things. Like, you're lucky to be able to do that, and it's an amazing thing. Um, Having the opportunity to play, even at a young age too, but just in college itself, like that whole journey, your whole life, like take that all in because it got you where you wanted to be today.
Yeah. For me, I try to remind our girls that yes, at the end of the day, we've worked really hard to get here. It's a privilege to play Division II softball. But at the end of the day, it's just a sport, and it's just softball, and that's not all we are as human beings. We're not just softball players or softball coaches. We do things outside of softball, and I think a lot of times young athletes in general wrap their identities up in their sport too much because that's all they've known for such a long time. And so I think getting out of our comfort zone a little bit, putting in the work, doing that, but also going on your vacations and spending your time with your family, and doing like real kid stuff growing up, and just not taking it too seriously. Like it's serious, but at the end of the day, it's just a softball game, or it's just your sport, right? It's not the end all be all of life.
No, that is great. Well, thank you guys so much for being part of this episode and just helping us celebrate National Girls and Women in Sport Day.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, everyone. So we are back with another segment of our National Girls and Women in Sport Day podcast episode. And we have some really special guests from our conference office to talk with us a little bit about just being female leaders in the athletic world, and to just get some more insight on their administrative positions that they have. So I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Audra Keedy. I am the Mountain East Conference Compliance Independent Contractor, and I'm also the Great American Conference Senior Associate Commissioner.
Hi, thank you for having us on today. My name is Allie DeWitt. I'm the Senior Associate Commissioner and SWA at the Mountain East Conference.
And I am the Associate Head Women's Basketball Coach here at West Liberty. I also serve as the Athletics Diversity and Inclusion Designee and our Senior Women's Administrator as well.
Yes, thank you all three so much for hopping on this Zoom so we can all talk together. So I just have like a couple different questions and a couple different things I'd like to talk about. But the first thing is, what really led each of you to get into your current position within athletics?
So I started in athletics kind of as an accident. I was a student worker on campus. I was a student athlete at Pittsburgh State University and was looking for a different on-campus job. And I ended up getting a job in athletics and compliance. I thought it would be fun. I think compliance is fun, but it's really funny now looking back on that. I stayed there and worked there for several years, ended up becoming a GA and then a compliance assistant after I'd gotten my master's. And then after a brief stint working in insurance and hating that, I came back into athletics and applied for a job at the conference office. And that's how I got the job at the GAC.
Similar to Audra, I found my way through a work study job, but I was also a student athlete at the Division II level. I played softball at Chowan University. When I was a junior there, I started a work study job in the athletic department and really had no intention of going into athletics prior to that, had no idea there were so many opportunities in athletics. So just finished out my undergrad degree in business administration while continuing to work through work study position, and then was hired after graduation as the director of athletic communication and head cross country coach at Chowan. During my first year, I got my MBA online through Cleveland State University, and I was on campus for just under 5 years prior to starting at the Mountain East.
Mine's similar as well. I was also a Division II student athlete at Mercier's College back then. It's now university, so I'm dating myself a little bit. But to be completely honest, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my career outside of hoops. Like, I just wanted to play basketball when I went to college. And then obviously my journey led me to a career in the sport industry. I went on to get my master's in sports administration. And then through a prior relationship that I had with a coach of mine, when it was time to get an internship to finish out my master's, he was an athletic director at the high school level, and I did my internship under him. And I don't know what led him to hire me as his head coach at 23 years old. But I jumped right into coaching at 23 years old. I was at the high school level for 7 years in athletic administration and coaching, and then made the transition to the college level.
All three of those stories are truly just so awesome to hear and like so inspiring. And for me, it was like kind of similar. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then I had my coach in college who she just said, like, Kelsey, like, you love acro, like, this is what you're passionate about. So why haven't you thought about coaching? And for some reason, even though like I grew up with both my parents were coaches, but until someone just explicitly said it to me, I didn't really think, oh yeah, like I could do that. But as soon as like the one person said it, then I was like, yes, that's exactly what I want to do. And then that's what happened. So did you guys ever have like a female leader, a female coach, a female in your life that kind of had some impact to get you to where you are today?
Yeah, for me, it was actually, I mean, I would say that my mom and my family, they were always really encouraging, but the difference maker for me was my former boss at Pittsburgh State. She was always encouraging, trying to find opportunities for me. I starting filing as a student assistant to then helping certify eligibility. That gave me a lot of confidence, but I still really just didn't think I was, I don't want to say qualified, but I had a really hard time thinking like, yes, I could have a career in this. I was just thought, okay, my time's up. I'm gonna have to go work in the real world. And I was absolutely miserable working insurance. And so I had gone back up to help. I was kind of volunteering, helping with some things, transitioning things back over that I had done, for the past 5 years. And she really encouraged me to look at a job that I had been thinking about. And it was at a conference office. And I thought, man, I don't want to work in a conference office. Like, that's boring. You miss out on so much on campus. And she really, just kind of gave me that encouragement that I needed, and that extra bit of confidence. And so I applied for it, and I've been here 12 years now, so I love it. But sometimes I think we just need that. I think that's maybe a common theme we're going to talk about, is just that encouragement and, mentoring other people.
Yeah, Audrey, you hit on a lot of really good points there. I mean, and I think there's this common phrase of like, if you can see it, you can be it. And I think that really is something that continues to resonate with me. And as you said, I'm sure we'll talk about that later throughout this discussion. But I have three females that have really helped me along the way, and all in very, very different ways. The first is Meredith Long. She was my supervisor as a work study student. She's the deputy athletic director at Chowan, and she showed me all of the different opportunities that were available in athletics, and then also allowed me to shadow her so many times in different settings and in different scenarios as a student. That was really, really helpful. She was able to provide some opportunities for me to get some experience at the conference championships when I was a student. And that was really critical in helping me kind of shape and develop what I thought I wanted to do. So very appreciative for that. And she's still out there doing it. So I still continue to rely on her now. Additionally, Commissioner McWilliams Parker at the CIAA Also, she was very helpful to me as a student athlete when I was on campus, but now as I've continued to progress through the conference administration structure, always been a very important mentor for me. And I know she mentors a lot of people and really, really prides herself on pouring into other people. And that's so important in development. So always appreciative to her for that. And then my mom has been definitely an important influence in my life personally. Similar to Audra, always really consistent support structure, and also I think providing the necessary balance that many people need as they're trying to find their way in their professional journey. So one of the things that she would always say is you can have it all, you just can't have it all at the same time. And I still say that to myself, and I think that's really important advice. So I would not be here today without the influence of those three women.
I think what I'm hearing a lot, obviously, from Audra and Allie is that they've had many mentors and examples of what successful leadership looks like, and someone just took a chance on them. And I think that's just so important as we sit here as female leaders and in these positions. I think it's so important that we are intentional about who we surround ourselves with too, because you need people that not only can just support you and challenge you, but that allow you to find out who you are and allow you to grow in that process, and then just take a chance to run with it.
No, those stories are all awesome, and I love that so much. So, since we were talking about the people that really like inspired you each individually and really helped lead the way for you, what do you guys try to do as female leaders within athletics to be able to like empower and encourage younger girls and younger women that might want to grow up to have a career in athletics in some capacity?
I always try to proactively talk to people about, well, what are you thinking about, especially with someone that's either volunteered at one of our conference championships or seems to be working on the administrative side, maybe some of our SAC student athletes, talking to them about like, what are you thinking about? How can I help you? And just really encouraging them. I had for the first time in my career this year, had some student athletes apply to the NCAA postgraduate internship program, and just trying to, you know, even if that doesn't work out, trying to talk to them about other opportunities. What I know was one of my mistakes, and I heard this women leaders, and it's still very much true today, that as women, we apply for less jobs, and it's mostly because if we're not 100% qualified or nearly 100%, like we check every single box, we're going to say, oh, I'm not qualified, I can't do that. And I know I did that. Um, I know I did this with the conference job actually, because it came around the first time and I thought, oh, I can't do that. I'm not qualified. And then 7 months later, it was back open and I applied for it and got it. So, I think it was just me counting myself out and not even trying. I don't know why, like I was afraid of the rejection letter. I don't know, but that's been a message that I tell. I think if we are aware of that, we start thinking, well, men are going to apply for this. And this is not like anti-men, but it's just something that for whatever reason, women are just less likely to apply for jobs unless they're 100% qualified. And so just kind of trying to reprogram that and bringing awareness to that. I've told several females and they said that really helped them apply for jobs that they maybe now have. And so just kind of bringing awareness to that, and then taking advantage of opportunities. Sometimes that's maybe not the job you think you want, or that, I don't want to say like a volunteer opportunity, but just being open to a lot of different things. I don't know if Allie had a passion for athletic communications right away, but it was a way into athletics, and to network and kind of, gain some different responsibilities and figure out what you want to do. Maybe you did, Allie. I don't want to disparage athletic communications. I just think sometimes we think, no, I want to be an AD or I want to be the head coach, and we don't think about all the different ways we can get there.
I think that's a great segue here. One of the bullets that I really, wanted to emphasize is in terms of what I want to be for other people in this industry is a positive example. I mean, ultimately, you have to do the work, right? Like Audra, you've mentored people. We all have listed people that have mentored us, but we're the ones that are responsible for doing a really good job. So really, one of the things that I want to do is be a positive example to other people of where hard work can get you. I will say that whatever role that I've had, and it's varied quite a bit since when I graduated to now, being at the conference office for 7 years, every year has looked different for me, but I've been all in every year. And I think that's really important. I've pursued, any opportunity that I could within that particular realm. And most people don't start off at their career goal job, right? If you want to be a commissioner, if you want to be an athletic director, in general, most people, that's not their first job out of college. So, accepting that reality. So one thing I want to do, just to kind of summarize, be an example to others. Second, I really try to pride myself. Audrey, you hit on it as well, but giving people the opportunity. I've had a lot of people help me, a lot of men, a lot of women, wide range of experience, diverse in terms of background, ethnicity, etc. But ultimately, if people are interested and want to learn, I want to be able to give them an opportunity to do that. And it might look like mopping the floor at the conference championship, but that might get them, an opportunity to connect with someone that can help them kind of find their way to wherever their next journey may take them. And then the second thing, the third thing is just being a good community member in the athletic industry. I think that we're really going through kind of a gut check as an industry in terms of where we're heading. We've seen quite a bit of people in various roles in athletics kind of re-examine themselves and their role and what that plays in that athletic community. So I think ultimately, we are responsible for building what we want that community to be like. So in the sense of giving back to other people, I think now is really, really an important time to do that as we continue to kind of gut check who we are. And that takes time, right? Like we have 100,000 things to do during the day. But if we can give back to other people and say yes when people reach out to us and ask for help, I think that's one step closer or one more piece of the puzzle to kind of getting us back to where we all feel good about what's going on and what we're doing.
I think it's visibility is so important. I think it's just important that young women and female athletes can have positive female role models to look up to prepare them for the future, that they can watch and that they know that it's a path that they can take themselves. And to be a positive influence too. And relationships are such a big part of this industry. And to be a transformational leader, not just a transaction, not just looking to climb the ladder, but to actually have genuine relationships that can get you places. That's obviously what I want to do, but I want to be visible in that so that others know how to lead, that they can have a seat at the table.
All right, thank you guys. So I have just one more question, and I know this question can be like kind of a loaded question, so I guess I'm just asking you guys like each personally how you feel in this. But just what does it mean to you to be a female leader in athletics and sports and just in this industry as a whole?
So for me, I think it means that I have such an opportunity and a privilege to, just be around our student athletes and, I don't want to say that I am a mentor to a ton of people, but having that opportunity to be a role model and, to have that visibility, like what Cassie said, I think it's important that we are present and available, and available to mentor our student athletes. I feel like we've already said some of the things that I had kind of thought about with this question, just being, having that presence, that being, what would you say earlier, Allie, you can't be what you can't see. And I think that, it's important for women, but also for, some of our underrepresented populations. I think that's really important. that we're providing those opportunities to those folks as well.
A couple of things that come to mind with this question. One, I think that women bring a different perspective, and I think it's one that's needed. And Audra, you really articulated the visibility piece, and so did you, Coach Seth, about not just being there, but then also, positively contributing to the conversation, being a leader in that room. So I think that's really important. And what I love specifically about being a female in the athletic industry is that we have the opportunity to lead with empathy, but we can also be really aggressive in a professional way. And I really know that, I know that sounds like kind of two opposite sides of the spectrum, but that's what I love about it. I love that I can be a go-getter, I can be persistent, I can be aggressive, again, in a way that's professional in terms of going after what's needed to get the job done, or what my goals are, or what our conference goals are, what we're working towards. We can be aggressive in pursuing that, but at the same time, because I maybe have a different perspective, I can lead with empathy. I can bring a balanced approach to what we're doing. And those are all things that I think just as a female enhance our abilities to lead and are something that should be highlighted and celebrated. Like Kelsey, I know you're doing that right now. So thank you for that. So that's what it means to me, I think, is leading with empathy and being professionally aggressive.
And I think a lot of those character traits that you're talking about, Allie, we all got as student athletes ourselves, right? So like we learned that through whatever game we participated in at the college level, and now it's become a passion to where we can pass it down. And I think that's so important. And I'm going to circle back to what I said earlier, that it's so important to be intentional about who you surround yourself with, to be able to find who you are, but then they allow you to grow. I'm lucky enough also to be at a place that fosters and supports growth. I started here at West Liberty as an assistant basketball coach, and this is my 7th year. And since then, I've been promoted to associate head. I've been promoted to the athletics diversity and inclusion designee, and I've had an opportunity to now most recently become the senior women administrator. So I'm in an environment that continues to support and foster that. And I think that's really important too, not just surrounding yourself with people that can help you grow, but being in an environment that allows you to thrive.
All right. Well, thank you all three so much for joining me today for the special episode of the podcast. I know that just being able to talk to you guys has been so inspiring, and I know it's going to be the same for anyone that listens. So thank you guys so much.